Alright, hey guys, welcome back to Neely by Nature. My name is Neely. On this channel, we talk about so many things from spirituality, law of attraction, social issues, international news, self-development, self-actualization. I am currently in Costa Rica. I am living in the jungle right now, in an eco-village, doing a lot of self-help, self-work, inner work. And this is officially my first week here. Actually, it was my first week yesterday, and I'm still kind of going through the motions of living in the jungle. I am originally from New York City. I lived there my whole life, so coming here and living here in the jungle, this is my little casa, has been it's been quite an experience. But I talked more about that in my last video, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and watch that. But today, I kind of wanted to just kind of make a quick video about main character syndrome, because just being in this community for, the past week, I feel like I've been here for like a year already. I've connected with so many people from so many parts of the world, but mainly from, first world countries. Mostly people from Europe and from the States, and just connecting with people. And I thought a lot about main character syndrome, because this is something that's happening in the US right now, where it's like, you are the main character, you are the main character. And it's something that I feel like people are truly not understanding what it means to be the main character. And it's becoming something that's toxic positivity, and it's becoming something that's adding to the individualistic society that we already have in the States, where everything is me, 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 me. Everything is happening to me. People are hurting me. I'm the main character. I should not be going through this. I deserve better. I should only be experiencing wonderful things. And just being here, in this eco-village, and just doing so much inner work and healing and connecting with others, I realized that people in the States, and I guess people in first world countries especially, there's a feeling of not wanting to feel negative feelings. There's a lot of resistance towards feeling fear, towards feeling doubt, towards feeling worry, towards any negative emotion. So what people do is they look to only feel good. And that is toxic positivity, because what you realize as you mature as an adult, or as you go deeper into your spirituality and understand yourself and the world and the universe, you realize that negative feelings, negative emotions are crucial to your growth. They're a necessity to your growth in life and who you become. Because if you're only experiencing positive feelings, then you'll never grow. You'll never have any need to, you'll not even appreciate the good, because good feelings are now just common to you. So you have no value for feeling good. You have no value for joy. You have no value for, happiness. And of course, there's no level of compassion. So just talking to people here, I can't help but to think like, I'm from my family's from a third world country, and I've seen extreme poverty. I've seen people, I have family members who are living in extreme poverty, right? Like who are making like $100 a month. $100 a month. That's like what the average American spends on like shoes or on dinner sometimes, right? And there are people who I have in my family that's how much they're making in a month. And this is the reality for a lot of people who are living in a third world country. But when I talk to, my family members, or people who are living in, extreme poverty, they don't have this sense of depression. They don't feel, like they're falling apart. Yes, life is a struggle, and they're struggling to make it, but they're not in depression and feeling levels of anxiety in the way that I've seen people here or people in the States experience, you know? And I realize that a lot of people who are living in first world countries, a lot of the pain and trauma that sometimes we experience can also be very self-inflicting. And so we come up with these, these things like be the main character to kind of help alleviate the feelings of negative feelings, right? You are the main character. So fuck everyone else. You're the main character. And it's like, of course you're the main character, right? It's your life. You are the main character. Why would someone else be the main character in your life, right? You're the main character. It makes sense. But what I think what's happening is that a lot of people think that the main character should only experience joy and happiness, and that nothing bad should happen to the main character. And I think that this is going to be something that's going to cause a lot of issues, a lot of mental issues for young people, especially who are growing up with this mindset, right? Like I'll see TikTok videos of a girl who's just like disrupting everyone's life in a restaurant to take a picture, and everyone's like, yeah, she's the main character because she looks good. And it's like, is this really how we define what a main character is? Or, someone who truly believes that they are the center of everything, that they are the center of the world. And the thing is, when you experience life, you will quickly realize that you are not the center of the world. You are just a little speck of dust. You are that small, You're not the center of the world. We are the universe. Together, collectively, we are everything. We are powerful. But when we continue this idea of you are the main character, you are everything and everything that could ever matter, I think that when people actually go out and experience trauma or pain or, the ending of a relationship or the ending of a career or whatever, they're taking it so personally. And I've experienced this even myself, right? Like, I'm not trying to judge anyone because this is something that I've lived in. This is very normal for people in first world countries to feel, right? Like, I was talking to, a girl here who, she feels so much depression. She's from Europe, and she feels so much unhappiness, and her unhappiness is not that it's not valid, because I don't want to say that. It's not that it's not valid, right? But it's very much self-inflicting, It's like how she feels about herself, her image, her inability to create relationships, right? And the more I've talked to her, I realize like she's kind of creating a lot of this trauma for herself, right? And this girl is beautiful, like drop dead gorgeous. Like, first of all, every single person here is beautiful, especially the woman. Like, wow. But anyways, I was just confused, and it's not to say that what she's feeling isn't valid. I completely understand. Like, I struggle with self-image as well, and my body, and I think all women do, right? But when it causes you so much depression, when it pushes you to that level, where you can look yourself in the mirror and you see a beautiful body, but you don't feel beautiful, you have to take a moment to step back and say, is this pain that I feel, am I causing it myself? And I think that people who live in first world countries, it's not that because we have no worries, we create worries. But I think that we want to create the problems for ourselves that feel like this is something that is enough for me, versus allowing problems to happen that can actually assist in your growth, right? What kind of problems? Sometimes problems can happen that we are causing, and sometimes problems can can happen to us that are out of our control. And sometimes it's the problems that are happening out of our control that have so much more growth for us, that is so much more guided by the universe, something that we can explore to really like become who we want to be, who we truly want to be. But the problems that we're creating ourselves, I think that is something that is truly resistance in our true feelings of our self-worth. That has more to do with our self-worth. So if you're self-inflicting pain onto yourself, if you're creating depression, if you're creating a lot of your trauma, it's actually not coming from a place of like, this is an actual problem of that's happening out of your control. It's coming from a place of, because I don't feel worthy. And when you don't feel worthy, then you can't really attract the joy and the love you want. It's because there's a feeling deep within you that doesn't feel enough. And that's what that's truly at the root of all your problems, whether it's, any self-inflicting pain that you're putting onto yourself, especially things like depression and anxiety. And that's something that I learned here, and it was something that I was able to recognize when I came here and I connected with so many people, because there are so many people here who are coming with a lot of trauma. There's so much trauma. Like there was today in yoga, there was a woman who was sobbing. Like this was actually yesterday, but we were all doing yoga and it was like a very peaceful, a peaceful moment. And we were all like just getting into our yoga, and this woman just starts to sob uncontrollably. And there was a moment where she was sobbing so much and it was like loud that I started to get a little annoyed because it was disrupting my practice. And when I became aware of myself becoming annoyed at her for like disrupting my practice because she was that loud, I asked myself, like, why is her suffering? Why is it that someone else is suffering bringing me so much distress? Why is her suffering disrupting my life, And I thought about that because in the sense that this actually happens in real life, right? Like people in the States don't really want to know what's happening to people in third world countries. They don't really want to know that people are suffering because it's too much for us and we can barely handle our shit. So it's almost like, we want to remove ourselves as far as possible from people who are suffering, right? And it's because it's a reminder of our own suffering. And it's like, you should be crying alone. You should deal with that shit by yourself. And in actuality, like, this is the place to do all that shit. Like, this is the place to sob. This is the place to be vulnerable. And it should be the place anywhere where we are acting as a collective. It takes a village to raise a child, right? And we should have that mindset all the time. So during my practice, I was like, what can I do to help this woman? And so during my practice, I just was like, I can send her love. And I just did my best to kind of energetically send her love. And I got through my practice and I was fine. But I think about how, these are things that happen day to day. Even on TikTok, I seen this girl who was like, I can't stand when people make videos of themselves crying. And it's like they're calling for attention. And it's just like, well, you can say that about anything, right? You can say that about people who take pictures and who look good, right? We can say that about the main character that we so cheer on, right? Like when people look good and you're the main character, they're not acting for attention. Like we can't say that. But if someone's vulnerable with us, oh, we're disgusted. And it's truly that. Like we're truly just disgusted. And, it makes us uncomfortable to see someone be vulnerable where they're sobbing and crying. And we don't want to be around it because it's causing us too much. And there's a sense where I do understand that, right? Where, there are moments where, yes, of course, No one wants to be in that 24/7, because of course it does affect your own mental health. But I guess I was just thinking of, like, in this very present moment, someone's crying, someone's sobbing, someone needs help. Am I going to turn my back? Am I going to be annoyed? Am I going to be upset? No, I can just be love, and I can send that person love. And I think that that's a mindset to remember to have, even when, you see people on TV who are suffering, and there's nothing you can do, but you can make a prayer for that person, and you can send that person love, and you can do whatever is possible in that moment for you to do. Like, a prayer for someone can be so much more than actually sending money. So I guess I just wanted to make this video because I thought about how main character syndrome is such a big deal right now. We're masking it as if it's this thing of, like, self-empowerment. But I think people truly need to understand and define what it means to be the main character, versus thinking that it's about having things, it's about looking good, it's about, showing off and stunting on people, because we really do that. And there's nothing wrong with looking good, as long as you're looking good for you, But are you disrupting other people's lives by being the main character? Do you think that everything revolves around you? Are you, causing... Do you not have true friendships because you are so the main character? Because you can't have long-lasting relationships because everything has to revolve around you. And I think that that's something for people to really kind of start talking about, because, I think there's a lot of toxic positivity out there. Like, and there's a lot of fake spiritual gurus out there who are just telling people, like, you're the main character, feel good, feel good, feel good. And people are manifesting, people know how to manifest things into their lives, but they're not actually feeling good. And being the main character, to me, is someone who feels good, not someone who just looks good, not someone who looks good on the outside, someone who truly feels good and is whole and complete, and they feel good in their soul and their body. They're not trying to take more than what they need. They're not trying to take yours and that person's. They're just okay with what they have. So yeah, I think that if we don't start to talk about main character syndrome soon enough, I think we're going to be dealing with a lot of young kids who are going to grow up and have this sense of self-entitlement, and they're not going to know where it's coming from, because they grew up in an era where it was like me, 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 and being the main character was seen as something that's like, yeah, this is so positive, you have things, you have designer things, and you're so cool, and all these things. And but we're not really teaching people how to feel good. Like, a new dress is going to make you feel good, a new bag is going to make you feel good, going out to dinner isn't going to, a really expensive place isn't going to make you feel good, right? But doing the work on yourselves and feeling whole and complete, being graceful, being kind, being generous, being able to give and receive, being open, moving forward in life with an open heart. I think those are the qualities of someone who is the main character, right? And I don't make these videos in a way of judging, because there are aspects of the main character that I saw in myself, and this is part of my self-growth too, right? Like, I think I lived in the States my whole life, so I definitely inflicted a lot of pain on myself. I definitely felt like, oh, this person hurt me, and I took it personal, and I was defensive, and just going on this path of having more compassion for myself. I think that's also definitely a quality of the main character, someone who has compassion, because when you can have compassion for yourself, you can have compassion for other people, you can have compassion for animals, you can have compassion for earth, and that's more of what we need here. Compassion, empathy, someone else's pain and suffering shouldn't be something that's so, oh, this is too much for me, like we should actually learn to find better ways to cope, versus I don't want to know about your shit. I only want to know about good people. I only want to know about like the good stuff, the positivity, because that can be toxic positivity too, when you're going through shit and you're only seeing people who are going through great things, and then you feel alone. And it's like, no, you should have a balance of both. And yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about today, is just toxic positivity, being the main character, what it means. I really am happy that I'm here. It's here in Costa Rica in the jungle. It's not easy. I don't have AC here, so I'm a little sweaty. But I've met so many amazing, beautiful people here, like literally beautiful, like, and like their soul, like they're so beautiful, like it just shows up in their attitude and in the way they walk and the way they're connecting with people. And I just feel so happy, and grateful, really, really grateful to be here. And I think before I got here, I was like, I'm going to hit the ground running and I'm going to make like these drastic changes. And it's like, I quickly learned like all I actually needed to do here is just be present and not try so hard for things to work out, and just literally let things flow, which is my biggest struggle, is just allowing things to happen. So being in nature and being in something that's, being in a place where I can literally be quiet and I have no distractions. I don't hear cars honking. I don't hear people arguing outside. Living in the Bronx, it's always something happening outside my window. But, just being able to be here and like being in this peace and in nature and like really just be wrapped up by the forest and jungle is something that I feel really grateful for. So I've been able to quiet my mind, and then through quieting my mind and being a little bit more at peace, I've been able to actually receive more guidance and more understanding of myself, about this world, about this place. And this was one of the things that came to me, was just like the main character syndrome, because it is something that I think about. It's something I saw in myself, and so I worry for this young generation that's coming up after us, that's going to have new mental health issues, and that's going to be a new market, right? Like, so being the main character is a market for making money too. It's capitalistic. People need to buy things to look like the main character. And then after people realize that they define main character as wrong, they're going to need therapy. And so that's going to be a lot more money for like, therapists and like mental health and all these things. And it's like, well, what if we talk about it now before it becomes to that? What if we talk about these things and we're actually collectively acknowledging these issues now, so that when they come up inside of our own selves, we can clear it away, instead of like, falling apart and going through depression. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video. So if you have any thoughts on this video, what are your thoughts on main characters? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would really, really, really appreciate it. This is a small channel, but it's growing, and I feel really grateful that it's growing, and that I can actually, talk to some of you guys in the comments, and just it literally makes me feel so good in my soul that like when people comment saying like I love your channel, and like I really think in the same way as you, and like I have same ideas, and like it just makes me feel like, okay, I'm I'm helping and you're helping, and we're making strides as a collective. So thank you so much, guys, and thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys at my next video. Bye.